Hey, welcome to the CMO Whisper Show. I'm your host, Steve Olensky. Part marketing practitioner, part ad agency veteran, part journalist. I was a writer for Forbes for 10 years. I've had so many insightful conversations over the years with business leaders, to athletes, to celebrities, to, of course, CMOs. The only difference now is instead of sharing those insights through written form, I'm doing it this way. My guest today is Jonathan Hamm, a former #1 ranked amateur boxer in the United States and 2011 U.S. national champion. Jonathan was one of the top super heavyweight fighters of his era and an Olympic team alternate heading into the 2012 London Games. Now, before that, he was a standout college football player who earned a shot with the New Orleans Saints and later transitioned into mixed martial arts, training alongside such legends as Jon Jones. But what makes Jonathan different isn't just his path, it's how he thinks about it. Because beyond the physicality, beyond the competition, Jonathan has developed a deep interest in philosophy, identity, and the mental frameworks that shape how we perform, adapt, and evolve. From the ring to business to life, this is a conversation about pressure, decision-making, reinvention, and the mind behind it all. Jonathan Hamm, my newfound brother, welcome to the show.
Hey, my brother, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on, man. It's an absolute pleasure to be on your show.
We hung out at Aspen a couple of weeks ago as we're recording this, dude, and we're like kindred spirits. So I the more I learn about you, the more you inspire me. I'm impressed. I think my audience, which are so many leaders, are going to take so much from you, and I want to just jump right in, right? So
Yeah, let's do it.
Take us into the ring first. What does it actually feel like right before you step into that ring when everything is on the line?
Wow. Well, first and foremost, when I first got into fighting with boxing in general,
Mhm.
one of my coaches, he was a soldier in Vietnam, all right? And this is
Okay.
what he told me. He said, hey, you ever see on those movies, whenever you see those helicopters flying through the Everglades, flying through all those trees and stuff, right before that helicopter land in the middle of that battlefield and the soldiers step out, that ride on that helicopter right before the choppers getting ready to land, it's the same feeling I get every time I'm walking into that ring.
Mm.
So, what people don't realize, fighting is not a sport. It ain't a game. When you're going into the ring, you're putting your life on the line. There's a chance that you may not walk out the same person.
Mm.
People die. All right. You can come out a different person, depending on the wrong punch or whatnot. But yeah, how I describe it, of course, it's a very, nerve-wracking feeling.
Yeah.
Nervous, a little, some people are scared, but it's a controlled nervous feeling.
Right.
Some of the greatest fighters I've been around, they always express how nervous they are. Like even been around, like I've not to mention like Jon Jones, the greatest fighter that ever lived. He
Yeah.
have a whole routine he go through. Speaking to God, and and he has this thing in which he wiped the floor, he wiped his arms, he wiped his legs. He's pretty much asking God to like pretty much to get rid of these things. The nervous system in my legs, the nervous system in my arms, the nervous system in my body. So a lot of fighters go through it, but we deal with it different. So yeah,
Is there
definitely nervous feeling.
is there a sense of fear? Or is that too strong?
Like I said, it's a controlled fear because that one thing about it is, as nerve wracking as it is, you can't accomplish nothing in this world without your heart racing fast,
Mm.
without being nervous, without being scared, without being a little afraid. It's the part of it.
Right.
If you sit inside of your comfort zone, if you're a person that sit inside your comfort zone, no matter whether it's fighting, whether it's anything in life, you won't achieve nothing. When it comes to accomplishing great things, even fighting, you know what I'm saying? It's somewhat the same thing. There's
Yeah.
always a little, nervousness in it.
Is
Butterfly.
there is there a difference, Jonathan, between like that nervousness and fear, and then quote kind of being ready in that moment? Is there like a fine line you walk?
Yeah. One thing about it, anytime you go into locker rooms when it comes to back of these arenas, you see a lot of fighters sleep. Me, I
Mm.
would take a nap. I'd be so nervous that I would take a nap. Some fighters would be sleep. Some fighters would be, nervous, throwing up, going to the bathroom, psyching themselves out. Some people need a whole lot of people around them, giving them positive affirmations. It's different. It differs with every person. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, the crazier you are, the less nervous you get. Some of
Well,
those, yeah.
you gotta elaborate on that one a little bit.
Well, what can I say? Sadly, in the fight game, there's people who lose their mind, because fighting is a dangerous game,
Hmm.
and there's certain people, who have taken so much damage, brain damage.
Hmm.
There's certain people. I don't definitely want to use the word. There's some people who's so ignorant when it comes to the fight game. They're
Hmm.
not, because they don't know what's the consequences that can happen within the fight game. So, not saying all fighters is nervous, but for the most part, when you're going in there to, there's a grown man standing across you, a grown
Yeah.
woman, whatever it is. All right. He is paid to inflict pain upon you and put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
Once again, this man standing across from you, he's been training for you. He's trained to put you out of your misery, even if it kills you.
Yeah.
We know that. So of course, with that, it comes definitely a lot of butterflies.
So that pressure, right? It's just, it's just got to be so. I can't even imagine how intense the pressure is, right? But now that you're kind of in, and also into the business world, when you look at executives, for example, making high stakes decisions, is there a comparison, like in the boardroom pressure versus getting in the ring pressure? How do you kind of juxtapose or look at that?
First and foremost, the thing about fighting, especially with whether it's boxing and mixed martial arts, all your decisions have to be made within the tenth of a second.
Mm.
Decisions have to come fast. But one thing about sports in general, whether it's fighting and sports, remember, I was a greater, maybe I was a greater boxer, but my favorite sport was definitely football, without a doubt.
Hmm.
That was my passion.
Hmm.
But when it comes to just sports in general, when they're approaching the business world, it definitely helps you when it comes to leadership and understanding, who to follow, what to follow. And think about it, you can learn from anybody. You can learn and grow from anybody. You can learn from a bum in the street. There's
Yeah.
somebody can always, teach you. But definitely within sports, what it teach you more than anything with me when it comes to the business world is definitely leadership, because we
Mm.
can't do nothing alone. All right. If we want to achieve something, it's going to take a lot of like-minded individuals putting their minds together. One of my favorite books is, of course, sure you guys heard of Think and Grow Rich with Napoleon Hill.
Hmm.
And he talks about creating the mastermind. All right. And for instance, Andrew Carnegie, he knew nothing about iron or steel. He knew nothing about it. But one thing about Andrew Carnegie, he was able to put the right people around him, okay, to help invest into his dream. He was a
Mm.
businessman. He knew nothing about steel. Anytime you look up Andrew Carnegie, you hear about his company. You hear
Right.
about him, American Steel. All right. He knew nothing whatsoever about steel, but he was able to put the right people around him in order to create that mastermind. So it's about, team leadership,
Yep.
having to trust one another, when it's a little tough too. The same thing as Ford back in the day, and the Rockefellers, and these great leaders of all time. It's all about putting, everybody using the best of each other, with no
Yeah.
ego. So yeah.
Right, right, exactly. And like I said at the top, we're going to get into how you look at things from a philosophical standpoint, and we're going to get to that soon. But I kind of want to build up to that. I want to talk about now the preparation versus pressure topics, right? In
Mhm.
your opinion, how much of handling pressure really comes down to preparation versus mindset?
Oh man, yeah. So without a doubt, it truly goes both ways, my brother. It's a crazy feeling, especially in the fight game. I can't
Mm.
speak with any other sport, but my experience in the fight game, it definitely goes both ways. For instance, you're way more confident. I feel like you're very, very confident when you fully prepared. You fully prepared. You was able to train, on schedule. You work real hard. You followed your diet. You doing 2 and 3 sessions a day for months and months at a time. The confidence comes with that. It's like, oh man, I can break down walls. At the same time, fighting is so psychological.
Mm.
It's so mental. All right. That whole time you still thinking about your opponent. Okay. That is beating you down. You thinking about your opponent every day. You're going to sleep. You got to go to sleep every night thinking about, what would I do if he do this? What would I do if he do this? If you do this, what would I do? Oh my God. That is the worst part of the fight. Going to sleep every night, thinking about your opponent every single day. But though physically is definitely an advantage, 1000%. But psychologically, sometimes it can kind of work against you because you had so long to work on the fight. On the other
Yeah.
hand,
Go ahead.
on the
Sorry.
other hand, a lot of times these fighters get the last minute notice, 2 days before the fight, a week before the fight, a couple weeks notice. Like I somewhat been in that situation in the amateurs, and I spoke to a lot of great fighters and who have been in that position. The nervousness is kind of because like, hey, what I got to lose?
Mm.
Hey, I didn't train the right way. I
Right.
didn't, if something don't happen, if something don't go right, oh well. So it's kind
Yeah.
of going into the octagon of the ring, like, oh well, whatever happens, happens. So yeah, it can definitely work both ways.
Can you be, in your opinion, can you be over prepared?
Yo, without a doubt, you can definitely be over prepared by definitely overtraining, and especially when you above the age of 35, above the age of 30, you can definitely overtrain, and
Mm,
definitely from a psychological, mental standpoint. A lot of people lose the fight before they even get in there
mm,
because of overthinking the situation, being an overthinker. And I think the reason why, I excelled as an amateur, all right, but I don't think I was going to ever be a good pro because number one, mentally, I wasn't in there because I was a person who overthought everything. I'm an overthinker, and sometimes you
mhm.
can overthink your way into the wrong thing, and that plays into the psyche when it comes to your nervous system or whatnot. But without a doubt, definitely physically from overtraining and definitely psychologically from overthinking.
Interesting. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. So, how do you train your mind and others? But you specifically, how would you recommend yourself? But how do you stay clear when everything around you is like chaos?
Oh man, well, me in particular, if I had to go back in time, all right, I don't believe in mistakes. Things happen for a reason. Everything in my life was supposed to happen for a reason. But if I had to go back another 10, 15 years, I definitely would have took philosophy more serious and
Hmm.
definitely clinical psychology and therapy, all right? Because some of the greatest fighters of our time, they take advantage of those situations, And me by learning and studying and getting mental help, I have to realize like some of our greatest conquerors of all time, they had the same feelings, being nervous, being scared, fear, fear of failure. It's a
Hmm.
part of it. For instance, Julius Caesar, okay? Julius Caesar, he walked up to Alexander the Great statue, all right? And Alexander the Great statue stated, "Here lies a man who conquered the world at 29 years old." 29 years old. Julius Caesar saw that and went into full depression. Like, man, here he is. He conquered the whole world at 29 years old, and here I am, 31. They barely know me in my own console, in my own neighborhood. Julius Caesar went into deep depression. You feel me?
Yeah.
But Julius Caesar, he's very known for educating himself, reading a bunch of books. Him and Napoleon both, they're both was avid readers, avid self-educators. So, this even the greatest people of our time went through the same fears of failure. The
Yeah.
difference between us and them is they had more on the line. They was
Mm,
really, you know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to brutality and death and
yeah.
mayhem and those was different times, but these guys was human beings as well. So
Yeah.
if I would have took that more serious back in the day as far as like me educating myself on
Yeah.
whether it's history and philosophy and great leaders, it would have put things in perspective for me like, hey, this is normal. If you want to achieve anything great, it's supposed to happen this way. You're supposed to feel this feeling.
Right.
It's okay to feel nervous.
So I was going to ask you, how, if you had this mindset back then, how would it have changed you? And you kind of already answered that, but I want to get a little more granular. Do you think if you had this philosophical mindset, then would it have changed things like your approach to training or the way you fought?
Without a doubt. Oh, yes, without a doubt. It definitely would have changed things. Towards the end of my career, I dipped in mixed martial arts, but I didn't compete. I trained for 3 years. And towards the end of my career, I got to be around some really great champions. And I realized, man, these guys get just as nervous as I am.
Mm,
You know, all these different world champions. And I got to find out it was pretty normal.
mhm,
Once again, I was an overthinker,
mhm,
and at the same time, I came from the world of football. So I had some of the ego women. Yeah, I'm a badass. I'm a badass. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They got the big muscles, But there's a
mhm,
difference when you in the fight game. These guys ain't
mm,
playing. These guys are trying to put you out of your misery. So the more I got to travel and train with great fighters who fought in those massive arenas, who fought in the O2 arena, who fought in Madison Square, who fought in some of the most legendary, iconic arenas of all time. They all feel this exact same thing, but they dealt with it different.
mm.
Yeah.
Kind of overlaying that into the world of business, right? It's very similar in that, because I talk to C-level people all the time, that overthinking is very prevalent there
Hmm.
as well as something that's called imposter syndrome,
Mm.
right? And I'm sure you're familiar with that, where you basically are not, you start to doubt your own ability.
Hmm.
You start to doubt your own knowledge. It's extremely prevalent in the C-suite, and it's probably something that most people don't think would ever happen. But that's all your mind, right? Your approach philosophically, right?
Hmm. And once again, it's all a part of it. The more people, on their free time continue to educate themselves, because when it comes to business, we all kind of run off the Machiavellian tactics in a way. All right, we all trying to, I'm not saying get power, but looking to have a step up in the world. Whether it's get a promotion, you getting this new job, because anytime we get a promotion, in a way, we kind of taking somebody's job in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So as we level up and as we grow, I think we just got to continue to ground ourselves with education. When
Mm.
if you truly want to level your way up, I feel as though studying the greatest people of all time, studying philosophy, studying science, when you study people around you, it'll get you more comfortable with, hey, these feelings are pretty normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Julius Caesar had this feelings. Napoleon had this feeling. Genghis Khan had these feelings. Getting nervous, getting scared. You think about some of our great civil rights leaders of our time, our great abolitionists.
Hmm.
Think
Hmm.
about what they went through in their life. What
Yeah.
we go through in life, we just trying to get a job promotion. Some
Yeah.
of these people was fighting for other people's lives,
Yeah.
and their
Or
lives was
in
on
their
the
own
line.
in their
So
own life.
as
Yeah.
afraid as you are, and sometimes you wanted to question yourself, these human beings, these great people in our past, they went through the exact same thing, because the human brain hasn't changed. The human brain, technology has changed without a doubt. All right.
Yeah.
But the human brain hasn't changed. These other human beings has dealt with the same thing. So I feel as though, for me in particular, the more we study great leaders in our past, I feel as though the more courageousness it gives us.
So everybody talks, at least I know, about mental toughness, right? What does that term mean to you, mental toughness?
Well, overall, so mental toughness, like, first and foremost, some of us is just born with it.
Mm.
All right. Some of us is just lucky. But I also think it's something that we can also work on. All right. There's
Mhm.
something that we can train. If you live a life, now, if you live a life and when you always was in a nice, comfortable comfort zone, you never had that feeling of being nervous, being scared, and having to risk something. Like, you have to train your comfort zone. You have to train your nervous system, and that's by continuing to level up and create new challenges for yourself.
Mhm.
If you just stay into that lackadaisical, waiting on praying, there's a lot of people who sit on the couch every day and pray to God, pray things to happen. God, please give me this. God, please give me that. God, the man upstairs, he have common sense too. A
Mhm.
lot of time, God, like, you know what? Meet me halfway, right? And in order to meet me halfway, you got to get out of that couch and you got to fight for something, all right? Yes, you're going to be a little nervous. Yeah, you're going to be a little scared. Yeah, your heart is going to be racing a little bit. You're going to have those butterflies. But I promise you, if you come up out of it, you're going to feel as great as you ever felt in your life. Because the best I ever felt in my life was definitely, what I'm saying? I feel as though the best I felt in my life was winning a fight. It's nothing greater than that, than winning a fight. It's nothing greater. All right. The second thing I ever felt that's even more greater than that, because it's even long lasting, and that's giving to people, giving
Mm.
to the homeless, just helping change people's lives. With all that being said, all this, when it comes to just preparing for mental toughness, you definitely have to just train your nervous system and just figure out, what am I doing it for? What makes you happy? Is you
Yeah.
doing this for yourself? When I was winning fights for myself, if I was on a high for a day or two, okay,
Mhm.
but when I started doing things for other people, I was sacrificing nerve because I know the things I was doing was going to help other people. It gave me more courageousness. It gave me more confidence to approach my goals, win or lose.
One thing I definitely want to ask you is about, I'm a big sports fan, you're a big sports fan, and we all know history is filled with, in every sport you can think of those who were given, excuse me, so much God-given talent, right? But never got to a certain level, right? Is it too easy to just say, well, they weren't mentally tough enough? Or why do some take that talent, exact same talent as the guy right next to you, but one just goes, one becomes Michael Jordan, the other becomes, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, the thing about it is if God give us the opportunity to do things, the opportunity to be nervous and a little afraid, that's a gift. Because the truth is, life is messed up sometimes. When I say life is messed up, bad things happen to good people.
Hmm.
Okay, some people is just unlucky, and that plays a part. Certain things happen. Certain people just meet the right coach. Certain people just meet the right person to help them. Luck plays a part of it in certain ways. Like I said, each and every last human being, we're all different in different ways.
Hmm.
But we just have to realize that, hey, if we anything worth achieving, that's something
Yeah.
that there's risk with it. It
Yeah.
comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to us about, like, what are you thinking about, like, philosophically? What questions are you dealing with right now? in your life, would you say?
Probably, honestly, probably the basic
Okay.
thing everybody else deal with. What I'm really into now is actually the study of studying. I study all religions,
Hmm.
whether it's from Hinduism to Judaism to Christianity to Islam to Buddhism. Me studying religions and me finding out more about this world.
Okay.
Because Socrates taught us, "I know nothing." And the more that you learn, the more you realize you know nothing at all.
Mm.
So the more I learn, the more I'm just open up. I more things that just open the doors for me, and able to be I consider myself a decent people's person.
Hmm.
The more I study religion, the more I'm able to get closer to other people, so I can understand their background and where they came from.
Interesting. Yeah.
And me studying other religions, it allowed me to get even closer than God. Close, because
Mm.
I'm not religious. Okay, my mama is a preacher. My mama is a preacher and a good Christian, and all of my values is definitely Christian based, 1,000%.
Hmm.
But I do believe in a higher power. But I do have a lot of questions. I do have a lot of questions, and it's okay not to know. I'm just
Right.
learning, guys. It's okay not to know what's up there in the sky.
Yeah.
So for me, just for the most part, it's just me just learning about religion, trying to
Hmm.
continue to find ways to get closer to God. And by me
Yeah.
studying religion, it getting me closer to more and more people because I'm able to understand different people's backgrounds.
This question is I want you to answer, but think of it more holistically, just in general. All right.
hmm
What's more dangerous, overconfidence or self doubt?
I would think definitely self doubt,
Okay.
because it starts with you in your room first.
Mm.
It starts with you in your room first. So, first you got to convince. First, you have to not per se convince, but you got to get at a certain point in time. You have to have people believe in you. So first, you got to make the people in your room believe in you, and after the people in the room believe in you, then you got to get then you got to get your side of your town. Then you get the city. Then you get the state. Then you get the nation. It happens upon layers when it comes to belief. The more people that's able to believe in you, the more I think everything is more, how can I say, I ain't gonna say justify,
Mhm.
reaffirming. More of your beliefs is reaffirming when you have more and more people that believe in you. So, and me personally, I believe in people who ain't afraid to fail, who not scared to take chances. Failure is a part. If your whole way you were succeeding the whole way through, what I have to listen to? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need some people to teach me on how to deal with some of my failures,
Yep.
how to get through some of my trials and tribulations.
I
So,
could not agree more. And there's an Einstein quote. I may paraphrase it, but something I think it was him. Like if you've never failed, that means you never tried anything,
mm,
right?
wow.
Like it's something like that. And you just reminded me of it,
Yeah, and that's a part of it.
right? You're supposed to fail. You fail
Y-
fast. You fail and you learn,
Yep.
right?
Because and the thing we have to realize, guys, and people who listening to this, we have to remember one thing. Everything that happened from our past, it was supposed to happen.
Hmm.
And we have to forgive ourselves for things. And when I
Yeah.
started studying psychology, I realized that you are who you are because the circumstance in which where you came from. Once
Yep.
again, you are who you are from the circumstance in which where you came from, the good and the bad. So a
Yep.
lot of us has made mistakes in the past, but with your life and your circumstance and with what you came, where you came from, what you went through, you had no other choice but to make those mistakes.
That's
What other
exactly.
choice was you going to make with the cards that you was dealt with in life? So we just
Yeah.
got to continue to just forgive ourselves and move on
That's
and
it.
learn from those people, because when you're chosen by God, when you're chosen, those things were supposed to happen.
That's
Okay.
exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, listen, we're going to wrap up soon. And as I wrap up every episode, Jonathan, as those who listen to my show, I call it the random five. So I ask you five very random questions. It's more about your personal and different likes and dislikes, right? So if you're game, here we go.
Okay.
What kind of music gets you locked in? Part one. And then what kind of music would people be surprised to learn you listen to?
Okay. Music that gets me locked in. Definitely, I'm from Atlanta, the
Hmm.
home of music. So typically, when it comes to getting my energy up, I like a
Hmm.
lot of down south music. That's you guys heard of the people like whether it's Future,
Yeah.
Gucci Man,
Hmm.
Young Jeezy, Ti, some of the old school Atlanta trap rappers. That kind of get
Okay.
my energy up. Like, hey, and that's kind of expected in a way because me being from where I'm from and me having somewhat of a music background. But most people will be surprised is most of the music I listen to is R&B. I
Hmm.
listen to people like The Weeknd. My favorite artist is an artist named Party Next Door out of Canada.
Okay.
A lot of slow R&B kind of stuff because it kind of helps settles me and helps smooth me out. Because of
Yep.
me being, look, I'm 6'7", 255 pounds. I can't walk around being this big, aggressive, rah, 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 rah. No. I have to just kind of just settle things down, and actually I go to sleep. I go to sleep with people like I love, whether it's Beethoven, whether it's
Yep.
Bach. Mozart is definitely my favorite. I love the old school classical music.
I love.
Brahms.
Yeah.
Like I love a lot of those classical artists as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I think people will be surprised that I like some of that stuff.
I think they would be too. And having met you, I'm surprised because I didn't know that. But I'm not surprised now that I've gotten to know you a little more. So okay,
Yeah.
next question. No overthinking this one. What's your favorite movie of all time? What comes to mind first?
My favorite movies of all time. Let me think.
And you can give me more than one.
Okay, let me think. Favorite movie of all times. Well, I think the most funniest, to be honest, and it's kind of embarrassing. Okay, it's kind of embarrassing, but this movie, for some reason, when I'm in a bad mood, this is the stupidest movie of all time. It's called "Don't Be a Menace to South Central" by drinking your juice in the hood. It's the stupidest movie of all time, but that movie just had me laughing like crazy. It puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a release.
Yeah, but most of the time, most of the time, I really really enjoy biographies of
Hmm.
people in their lives, and going to their background and learning about the person. So
Right.
I
Right.
watch a ton of biographies. I was just watching this movie on a philosopher named Carl Jung. I watched it like 2 or 3 times in a row, and so, yeah, just watching movies about great philosophers, not great philosophers, but great people, great historians in the past.
Yep.
Those are things I enjoy doing the most.
Okay. Jonathan doesn't know this, and he may get mad at me, but Jonathan also is an actor, and he
Oh,
was in a. Oh, no, no. I'm going to say it
yeah.
for you because humility will prevent you. But tell us what's the name of the movie and where can people watch it?
Okay, yeah. So the movie is called Big Fan, directed by Robert Siegel. And
Mhm.
it also co-starred Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt was on King of Queens.
Mhm.
Really great actor, man. Really great guy. Yeah, I got that opportunity, I think, in 2008, some years ago, and yeah, it was really fun. We shot it out there in New York. I'm in
Mhm.
like the first 15 minutes of the video, and after that, we had some other great actors in there as well. But yeah. You can stream it on, whether it's Apple, it's on YouTube, it's on Tubi.
Yep.
It's pretty much on Amazon Prime. It's definitely not on Netflix, not on HBO Plus. But yeah, you can get it. With Google Play, it's on all those.
So I will tell
Big
everybody
fan.
listening, it's about a fan who obsesses, is that fair word, over your character,
Hmm.
right? And I love it being an Eagles fan than I am because it's about Giants, New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles fans. So it really struck a chord with me, not only getting to see you, my friend, in it, but the backstory as well. So
Yeah.
even if you're not a fan of those two teams, check it out. Jonathan's great. He plays this very over the top, right, almost bombastic star football player. But
Yeah.
you just play it so well. You're so subtle in the way you do it. It's really, and there's great scenes. So definitely check it out. It's called Big Fan. Okay,
Yep. Contrail
next
Bishop.
question.
That was my name, guys. Contrail Bishop.
That's
I
it.
don't know who
That's it.
thought of that name. QB.
I
Contrail
love
Bishop.
that. Yeah, because you hear QB and you think quarterback, right?
Yeah, that's what you would think. Yeah.
And I go, wait, that's the character name. I love that. Okay. Are you someone who needs structure in your day, or do you operate better when things are a little more free flowing?
Man, so somebody told me a while ago, one of my really good friends named Mark Chandro, very successful guy. He
Hmm.
told me something, and it really changed me. He said, you could tell a lot about somebody by the way they keep their house and the way they keep their car. Like, what you
Mm.
mean? He like, just let it process real quick, all right? So, and in which way he was saying is, for a long time, for me in particular, you can walk into whether my house or my condo, okay? The house and the condo will be very, very clean. Oh my, this is a nice house. This is nice. Oh, this is pretty nice. Car. Oh, this is pretty nice. But you go inside my dressers, you go inside of my cabinets, you have things balled up and not folded. You have the spoons with the forks. You have the forks with the mayonnaise, and you had things all over the place. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I want each and every last one of you guys to look at y'all lives. The way you keep your house and your car, it definitely represents your life. Me, I've been working on that. I've been consistently trying to build upon that and work on myself
Yeah.
because I lack the structure. I'm a
Got it.
go-getter. I go, I go, I go. All right.
I got it.
But
I
I
got it.
need that, yeah, I
Okay.
definitely need that balance of structure.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Next one. Would you say you're more competitive with yourself or with others?
Definitely with myself.
Mm.
Yeah, 1000%. Definitely with myself. I don't want to let myself down,
Mhm.
and I don't want to let my mama down.
Mhm.
And I just got so many people in my family who just so supportive of me and love me, because, ultimately everything that I do, I just try to put myself in position to give to other people. So
Yeah.
I weigh that on my shoulders all the time. What's the purpose of me being successful? I've had
Yeah.
money, but I made good money. I've been, traveled the world, played sports, I've had those good feel. I had money. I've had all that stuff,
Yeah.
but nothing makes me more happier than giving to people. So I put a lot of pressure on myself because if I'm not able to succeed or be successful, I'm not able to do what God sent me here to do, and
Yep.
that's help people.
Okay, last question, and I know this is going to be hard for you to pick just one, but if you could sit down with anyone, past or present, over dinner, who is it and why?
Who would it be? Honestly, it'd probably be somebody. It'd be Leonardo da Vinci.
Why?
He is by far, he is the most intelligent human being that ever, he's the smartest person, the most intelligent human being, like the most gifted person that ever lived. Leonardo da Vinci was groundbreaking for so many things, so many things. He is the key figure when it comes to the Renaissance period. He
Mm,
was a doctor. He was an engineer. He was somewhat of a politician. The way he was able to help negotiate different things. He was a scientist. Leonardo da Vinci had so many different weird talents. Like he was the first person to design a parachute. He
wow.
was the first person to design a cannonball. A cannonball. He was the first person to design an airplane. And he worked on. It's kind of weird because what made him great in his art, he would dissect human bodies. Okay,
Wow.
Leonardo da Vinci. He would dissect human bodies. So whenever you see some of his artwork, all the muscle lines and definition would be so precise because of his study of human anatomy. Because he worked so hard at it. So
Wow.
yeah, when it comes to a man with all those different talents, man. So I think out of everybody, it'll definitely be Leonardo da Vinci because I'm like really into art and stuff. So
I
yeah,
love that. What a
yeah.
great way to end. Listen, my brother, Jonathan Hamm, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You are an absolute treat. Thank you, my brother.
Hey, I'm very grateful for being on your show. It's an absolute honor. And I just want everybody out there to know, hey, when it comes to achieving things, hey, it's going to be a little nerve wracking. It's going to be a little scary sometimes, but God put you in that position for a reason. You were chosen. Those feelings that you feel, that nervous feeling, those butterflies, it's an honor to feel that feeling. All right. I want y'all to go out there and get it. And I want to thank you guys for listening to me.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you guys.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the CMO Whisperer Show. I hope you shared this episode with your friends. And if you have not already, please subscribe to be kept up to date on all the latest episodes. And if you're so inclined, leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you.